and welcome back to our YouTube Heritage Gardening series. In last week's video, we looked at 3 different techniques in order to maintain the health of your garden. In this video, we are going to give an update on our heritage garden and then look at how we harvest our radishes. Before we get to that, we need to address the mystery artifact from last week's video. The picture displayed on the screen was accompanied by 3 different hints. Hopefully everyone had a chance to comment their answer down below our last YouTube video. The tool from the Nye farm is called an adze. The tool displayed in the image is an adze, circa 1880 to 1920. It has a brown wooden handle. The tool is mainly used to cut and harvest wood. It is similar to an axe, but the blade is perpendicular instead of parallel, and it has a hole for the handle to fit into. When examining this artifact, we can recognize and determine that this tool was handmade. When looking at the artifacts from the past, it is important to look at the quality of the object. The blade of the adze is worn and is reddening from rust. The edge of the blade is worn and more dull than what would be expected. Interestingly, the handle is covered with small holes made from insects. There is an increased likelihood of tools and objects facing damage if it is homemade rather than manufactured. This tool lacks any indication of or markings from a manufacturer. Within the last couple of months, our ecotourism student has been very hard at work keeping the garden maintained and healthy. Our garden looks very beautiful, it has seen some new additions, and it experienced some loss. In the month of May, the garden was prepared. It was fully weeded, the soil was tilled, and the seedlings were soaked. A tremendous amount of effort was put into the design of our garden. Our seedlings and crops were organized in a very specific way. Our heritage garden follows the typical structure of an Anglo-Dutch garden that would have been commonly used back in the 1800s. The month of June was an extremely busy month for our ecotourism student. Commencing the official start of our garden's development, the seeds were planted on June 2nd. The germinating seedlings were transferred from their nursery and into our garden. Moreover, the following seedlings were directly sowed into the garden: 1 row of carrots, 1 row of radishes, 1 row of turnips, and 4 plots of cabbage. On June 7th, the tomatoes shown in the image were planted into the garden, and on June 10th, our ecotourism student planted 2 rows of marigolds near the entrance of the garden. On June 17th, new corn and peas seedlings were planted. We had to replace these seedlings in our garden due to some crop loss. We suspect that a small pest ate the seedlings. To limit further crop loss, our ecotourism student created corn coverings, which were shown and explained in the second video of this series. On June 21st, the addition of cattle manure was integrated into the topsoil of our garden. This was included to provide the crops with the nutrients needed to further develop. On June 30th, various herbs were planted in our garden. On July 5th, the radishes reached their 33rd day of growth in the garden. They were harvested, which will be further examined next. In the following video, we will see our ecotourism student harvesting the radishes. As you can see, she is gently pulling each radish by the root out of the soil and is placing the harvested vegetable into a basket. Our radishes were harvested on day 33 of their development. It is suggested that radishes are ready to be harvested once the bulbs are about 1 inch in diameter. If the top of the radish is poking out of the soil, the radish is usually ready to be picked. Radishes are a fast-growing crop, which makes sense why this vegetable is being harvested before the others. Typically, radishes will take 20 to 40 days to grow and will go bad if you leave them in the ground too long after they are ready to be picked. Make sure to continuously check your garden's development for your crop's well-being. In next week's video, we are going to slightly shift our focus from the vegetables growing in our garden to the herbs growing in our garden. Like explained and shown in this video, we have various herbs growing in our garden. Make sure you watch next week's episode to see how we interpret, take care of, and include these herbs in our Heritage Gardening YouTube series.